Are languages still important anymore? Welcome back to my podcast. Today's question is both simple and deep. Are languages still important anymore? In a world of machine translation, English dominance, and AI, do we still need to learn new languages? I would like to add my personal motivation here, and also I would like to mention a lot of different kind of opportunities here. Okay, firstly, learning a new language can be challenging sometimes, especially if you are from the West side and when you are learning the Asian languages. I think it's not easy peasy. Firstly, you need to learn the alphabet, writing systems, and also the culture. The culture is everything in the Asian languages. Also, after the AI realized people do not have to learn the languages because there are online translation tools and you can just translate the words, you can just translate the sentences directly without knowing any language. Because there are out of language tools when you go to the abroad, when you move to a new country, you can easily use them even in a taxi. So people understand not only the language tools, but also everybody speaks in English in this modern world anymore. Even you go to the Pakistan, people know English. Therefore, people just trying to not to need another languages because English being an universal language, like as the French before. The rise of English and technology. Let's be honest, English is everywhere. It is the language of business, technology, academia, and pop culture. If you speak English fluently, you already have access to a majority of the world's information. But then comes machine translation, which tools like ChatGPT, DeepL, and Google Translate getting better each day. People ask, why bother learning Japanese, Turkish, or German when a machine can do it for you? Okay, when tech failed to capture the soul of language, okay, if you are learning the language for a business, academia, and other things, the ChatGPT can be useful and you don't have to force yourself just learning deep language details. For example, if you don't want to live in Japan, if you don't want to work in Japan, if you don't want to do something in Japan, you don't have to learn all the vocab, all the GLPT exams. However, if you want to live in Japan, when you just want to get into society, when you want to participate in a group, maybe you need to think it twice. Because basically, when you just trying to do a conversation with the new people will ask you, will you use the machine or your own emotions? The machine can replace everything but emotion to me. When you're just using the AI, when you are using the ChatGPT, you can easily translate text. However, you will be missing the value and you will be missing the meaning of behind. Because people will think you are just using the ChatGPT rather than just knowing the language or culture, people will think you have a lack of deep understanding of language and culture. Segment 2, language and culture. Here's what machines still struggle with, culture. Language isn't just vocabulary or grammar. It carries emotion, identity, context. When you learn Japanese, for example, you learn how people apologize, how they express hierarchy, or how silence itself communicates meaning. Your comments, my comments here. Okay, when you are just translating the words to your target language, you can understand that there is no 100% correctness. Therefore, you need to understand if it is not your main language or not use your mother tongue way, you will do the mistakes. So it's very normal. There is no extraordinary situation here. So here the issue is like after the AI develop a bit more, maybe people will be able to speak in Japanese with the machine. So therefore maybe you won't need to learn all the Japanese language. Maybe you will able to speak Japanese language or Chinese language with the AI. The system can show the way and system can lead you. In that way, people just replace the emotion. Can AI replace the emotions? Well, it's changeable, but mostly yes. Because most of the time people think that AI won't replace the emotions. However, it will. I think it replaced already. Whenever I thinking about my own identity, my own loneliness, I'm trying to speak with the AI, and AI just showing my way, and AI just being friends with me. So people will ask this question: if AI can replace a human, especially emotions, will I need another human being in order to continue my life? The answer is it won't. Day by day, AI is just trying to replace the emotions, and AI being more sentimental. Segment 3, the global south and linguistic inequality. English may be dominant, but it isn't neutral. It comes with power structures. In Africa, Asia, and Latin America, students are often forced to learn in a colonial language. This creates linguistic inequality. Some voices are privileged, others silenced. How plays out in Turkey or other country? I have studies. Well, emotional cost of language loss or imposed languages. Well, if you're just checking the English, there are a bunch of English dialects, right? Or a bunch of English different of cultures, right? Okay, if you go to South Africa, you will understand that people just trying to speak English like a French because they have impact of French. For example, if you go to the west side of the Africa, maybe north side of Africa, you will understand everybody can speak in French. But if you go to the eastern side of Africa, there's English colonized, and the English language is very dominant in the East Africa. Well, it's also changeable. Segment 4. The psychological power of speaking another language. Did you know speaking another language can shift your personality? Studies shows bilinguals often feel different in a language. Language reviews your brain, expands empathy, and even delays cognitive decline. When you speak Japanese and Chinese and other languages, what do you think about your identity? Well, there was a research about it. When people just trying to speak in English language, their cognitive brain is changing because when they are speaking English language, they are being more direct. Because English language is very direct language rather than a Japanese language. If you think from the sides of the Japan and the Turkish, you will understand these languages have indirect vocab and indirect sentence structures. So the verb should be at the end in the Turkish and Japanese language structures. However, in the English, the verb or phrases should be at the first. Therefore, people being more direct in English language because there is no missing value in English language if we just if we make the language as a if we just perceive the language as a mathematics. But in Japanese language and the English language, there's indirect meanings, and therefore people just can make the tongue twisters, and they can do the indirect speech with the mimics, gestures like that. So the language can change your brain and your emotions. Well, segment 5. So are languages still important? In a short, yes, not for the reasons they used to be. You don't need them for survival, maybe not even for business, but you need them for understanding people, for thinking differently, for stepping into another's shoes. Languages are not just tools, they are world views. And even a world where AI can translate our words, only we can truly understand their meaning. Give your final verdict. Do you think languages will lose value? Well, if you learn the language, if you learn the new cultures, maybe it's so important for stepping into another's shoes. Yeah. When we are just trying to learn another language, it doesn't only mean that we are just can translate the text, or we can just translate our emotions or understandings or demons. It's also just watching the world from someone else's shoes or someone else's window. And therefore, learning like language not only can help you to develop, but also it will give you a chance to learn how to watch the world from another's perspective, because there are different perspectives in the world and people just perceiving the world in a different way. If you're asking a Thai someone, the world is different. If you're asking someone from Japan, the world is different. If you're asking someone from Turkey, the world is different. Not only language, but also culture is making people the more different, and they have various kind of people in the world, and they have bunch of ideas, and every idea is different from each other. Okay, outro, call to action. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend who is learning a new language, wondering if it's worth it. Don't forget, language is more than communication, it's connection. Leave a comment below what language changed your life. Next episode, does culture exist without language? See you there. Not this episode will be different. Okay. If you're asking my opinion, Japanese language has changed my mind. Let's be honest. When I just understand the culture deeply, I got it because Japanese people lived in a how can I say? They live in a sakoku jidai, which is the isolation mode, and they are being more isolated from the other societies. Therefore, they are not accepting the foreigners easily to their country. They think that they should be there, and they are trying to stay nationals, but it's really wrong, because after the America, this effect is broken anymore. When I tried to learn the new language like the Japanese, I understood that Japanese language a bit adult language, because they have bunch of adult terms, and when a foreigner, for example, me, I'm from Turkey, when I'm using these terms, people just judging me because I'm Turkish and I'm from the Middle East. Well, let's get into the topic. Now, Middle East is very undeveloped when we are compared the world from different countries. Therefore, people just underestimating the people when I'm speaking Japanese. In fact, from Ukraine, some girl just trying to be a model as an Ukrainian in Japan, and she became a first model in the Japan, but Japanese society just, oh my gosh, someone from a foreigner being a beauty in Japan amongst the Japanese people. So it wouldn't be acceptable, so they judge her immediately, because Japanese society, its mindset is fixed, so they're also just judging the people from their mindset, because they're also nationalists, and therefore this country is a bit, because of their nationalism, they're judging the other nations easily, so your action can be understand threat there. Yeah, because the language, the culture, the history is everything when we are understand the culture, because in Japanese history is not very unique, and Japanese history is just full of the embarrassment, full of the wars. Therefore, the wars also affect the Japanese people. We cannot just change this culture history. The history representation of, according to me, the history is representing their country. Oh no, the history is a representation of a country. Yeah, it's a great sentence. Thank you for watching until now. See you on the next video.